Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, what's good, everyone? Welcome to another Live Wire Sports Media. All right, today we talking about Elaine Duncan. Man, it is so sad that these ESPN personalities it's like they say one thing, they do another. Then they come back, they come back and apologize, and then they seem like they can't keep their foot out of their mouth. We all know a couple of days ago, Elaine Duncan, she made comments about what Sheryl Swoopes said about Caitlin Clark, which, Sheryl Swoopes did say it. She said it, came out her mouth. We already know it's not the first time Sheryl Swoopes has took swipes at Caitlin Clark. It's not the first time that she showed her hatred for Caitlin Clark. And it's not the first time that Sheryl Swoopes pretend that she likes Caitlin Clark. We all know she's the number one hater. Like I said before, I thought Cheryl Reeves was the number one hater. I thought Diane Taurasi was the number one hater. But man, come to find out, Sheryl Swoopes is player hater number one. Now, but Elaine Duncan came out. She said what she said. She said she called her a hater. Then she came back a couple of days later, made an apology, said, "Oh, I didn't get all the information. Oh, I should have listened to the whole podcast." Now, mind you, none of this happened until Sheryl Swoopes hit her on Twitter and say, "Oh, really, Ellen?" And I'm sure they had a phone call, and Ellen tried to say her side, and Sheryl Swoopes like, "Hey, you need to go back and clean that up." You know what I'm saying? Because we all know Sheryl Swoopes she's going to continue to take assault on Caitlin Clark throughout the season. As the season continues with 14 games left, the Rookie of the Year race is going on, she's going to show her disrespect. Do we expect anything different? Hell no. We don't expect anything different. But I'm going to let y'all listen to what she had to say, because I listened to it today. Well, yesterday I listened to the podcast, and just to be honest with you, it's cringeworthy, it's sickening. It just shows the lack of, in the words of Mick Foley would say, it shows the lack of testosterone fortitude. And it goes to show you that Elaine Duncan, before I get into the video, it goes to show that Elaine Duncan, even though she called Sheryl Swoopes out, but she didn't call her out on what we all have called her out on, especially when it came down to abusing her students, abusing her athletes, and it seems like nobody is going to cover that. Nobody is going to say anything about her like that, but us, the ones that does content creation, the ones that post this stuff on X. But again, once I let y'all listen to this, then I'm gonna come back with my dialogue.
Fit man in the room as we say hello to you on this Monday afternoon, and a lot of reaction to our last podcast, and in particular, a conversation that we had surrounding Sheryl Swoopes, who had joined a podcast. And was, talking about, quote unquote, Caitlin Clark, amongst various other topics. And I'm always really hesitant to sort of address things like a second and a third time after addressing them the first time, just because
Okay.
it keeps it fresh in the news cycle, right? But I want to address the situation despite the fact I've already apologized last Friday because of a couple of reasons. A, because I just went to NABJ and I sold these journalists on doing proper research. And B, because I want to answer to the folks who think that I waffled or took a step back because I was somehow influenced by some woke mob that forced me to. So the situation, very quickly, if you don't know, was I kind of took the bait and I said that Sheryl Swoopes, based on some of these clickbait headlines from the story about Caitlin Clark, was giving some hater. It was giving off hater. Now here's where I messed up. I didn't do enough research. Okay. I have been, Gary, working at a furious pace, as you know. And I have been telling myself subliminally for a while, like, you need to slow down, or you need to be putting more thought into the things that you say, or you need to be doing a little bit more research. We tend to put our feet up a little bit in the summer. And I've been sort of, jack of all trades, master of nunning this thing for a while. And it bit me in the ass last week because I made a judgment on someone and about someone without knowing the full story, without listening to the actual podcast, without not getting the full context behind it. When I said Sheryl Swoopes was coming off as hatery, I was looking at essentially a paraphrased quote of like Katie Lou Samuelson is better than Caitlin Clark, or these things that were attributed to her. And instead of doing what I should have done was saying, well, let me hear it for myself, I just reacted to paraphrasing type of headlines. And I have a responsibility to do better because you can wing some shit in this job, Gary. You can wing Snoop's antics at the Olympics. You can wing, he got a big and he know how to use it. You can wing a lot of these things. But when you are going to make a judgment on someone and it is going to validate an entire group of people who have said abhorrent things to said person, you've got to be right. You've got to know and be informed on what you're going to say. And I didn't do that. I did not do that. And I sent yet again a vitriolic mob to Sheryl Swoopes' doorsteps. And I gave them validation to say nasty, horrible things to her. See, Elle Duncan says she's a hater. Let me be nasty to Sheryl Swoopes now. And I am so sorry to her for doing that. Listen, we have a job, Gary, where we are going to say things sometimes that people are not going to like. And I stand on my opinion of things when I am well informed, when I know I am not just being inflammatory for the sake of being inflammatory, when I know I've done my research, I can stand on said opinion. But I waffled, AKA apologized, because I could not in this situation. Because when I went back and actually listened to it after I had already started all this shit, I was embarrassed. I was like, there was so much more context behind this conversation that was necessary. And I begged people. I sat at NABJ, Gary, and I told these young journalists, you have to be a master researcher. You have to stop in a world of bad information being disseminated. We have to be the ones to do the research. We have to know both sides so that we can be informed. And then I walked right upstairs to that hotel room and I didn't look at this rundown on this show for a second because I've been playing fast and loose with just ad-libbing this shit. And I made a snap judgment and it started some shit. And I'm sorry. I am so sorry to Sheryl Swoopes because she deserved better. If I was going to lay that at her doorstep, then I needed to do a better job at my job. And I did not. I failed at my job last Thursday. And that doesn't make it any better for Sheryl because now forever on the internet, there lives a clip of me being like, Sheryl Swoopes is a hater. Despite the apology that I made the next day, despite going back and going, oops, I f***ed up. That lives forever now. I can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, but I'm asking those journalists that I met to do better than me. Use this as an example. Use this as an example. We owe the people that we criticize that respect. We owe them the respect of knowing the full story. And if we can't do that, then we have got to have irrational amounts of humility and accountability when we do it wrong. And I did it wrong last Thursday. I did not answer to some woke mob. I did not feel the pressure from the basketball community. No one texted me. I just did the best thing that I could do in that moment, which was admit that I effed up and say, I'm sorry. And I hope that Sheryl forgives me and that I will do better and that this was a very teachable moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize, and I'm hoping that we can all sort of move on and focus back on like the part of the podcast that we love the most, which is the sports part of the podcast. We've had a lot going on in the Olympics. You mentioned women's basketball. So
All right. So my initial thought of this interview from Elaine Duncan is, to me, she's full of shit. She's full of shit. You know why? Because she sit there, it's like she's crying for Sheryl Swoopes' approval. You know what I'm saying? If you said what you said the last time, just stand on it and say, yeah, Sheryl, I listened to the podcast. This is what you said. Instead of sitting here and say, oh, well, I went back and listened to the whole podcast and now I felt bad because I messed up. You know what I'm saying? Then you sit here talking about the people, talking about you kicking up your leg, your feet, and so forth and so on. I mean, you're not Stephen A. Smith. You're not Skip Bayless. You're not damn Joy Taylor. Hell, Joy Taylor got that privilege like that. You ain't Molly Krim. You're not Shannon Sharp. So winging it. You talk about winging it. Hell, that's what all y'all do on ESPN anyway, is wing it. Hell, y'all go out, y'all jump to every damn article there is or something, and then y'all sit there and talk about non-factual stuff all the time. All the time. Y'all do it all the time. You do it in the Rookie of the Race thing with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese right now. Sue Bird just literally said, hey, I could go on stats and know that her valid point is going to still pick Caitlin Clark. But some of y'all just jump on certain topics just because it's sweet. So therefore, if you listen to Sheryl Swoopes' thing, and Sheryl Swoopes said it, Sheryl Swoopes literally said that the Fever still could make the playoff without Caitlin Clark. She said Katie Lou Samuels is the most valuable player on that team. So you saying Katie Lou is better than Leah Boston, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell. Those are Sheryl Swoopes' words. So how the hell did you get it misconstrued? What part did you sit here and say it was not factual? I don't care if you listen to the damn podcast 20 times. Those are Sheryl Swoopes' words. She's trying to say that the Indiana Fever has a better team than the Chicago Sky. She's pretty much said the Chicago Sky is not going to make the playoffs. That their team is bums. That we have a better squad. To be honest, I mean, you could, if you go player by player, I mean, you got Angel Reese, Camila Cardozo, you got Shannon Carter, you have Marina Mabrey. You have 4 legit people over there and some whatevers. Same thing with Caitlin Clark. It's her, Leo Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Alyssa Smith, and some others. And then you can add Lexi Hall into that. But still, not by much. This is the thing that continues to tick me off with mainstream media. Because they sit there and say, well, Elaine Duncan said, well, I didn't do research. But you have a podcast. You have a podcast. So you have to do research. Same thing with anybody on ESPN. They have to do research. But like I said before, y'all really don't. Y'all just talk. Y'all talk. That's all y'all do is talk. And y'all have this buddy ass system that y'all running, because as soon as you say something negative about your buddy gets mad and out you on X, and then you turn around like, oh my God, oh my God. We done seen it so many times this year. We done seen it from the back and forth flip flop from Don Staley. We done seen it from Sinead Umake. We done seen it from Andrea Carter. We've seen it from Elaine Duncan. You know what I'm saying? We done seen it from Stephen A. Smith. We done seen it from Shannon Sharp. We done seen it from every damn body in the sports media that flips back. Now, the only person that has not flipped back and forth is Nick Wright. He's been the only one that really been locked in and called it like he see it when it comes down to Caitlin Clark. Everybody else, what's hot for them today is damn cold for them tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? That's just how they work in the media. You know, me personally, I have my favorite teams. I have my favorite players. I cover most of my teams, you know, when my schedule permits, you know. But at the same time, I try not to jump on something. I try to do research, listen, and then compile my videos together to bring great content. That's how you feed information to your public, to your audience. You don't just sit there and say, but if I mess up, hey, I mess up. But the thing about it is, I'm not going to kiss nobody's ass. If I call you out on something and I'm friends with you, then I'm not going to come back later just to kiss your ass because you got mad. Hell, you just fucking got mad. That's just how it is. Like I said in my last video, to me, a lot of people don't like Charles Barkley. But guess what? Charles Barkley risked his friendship with Michael Jordan because he called Michael Jordan because he was a bad owner, which was true. Now, Michael Jordan got in his feelings about it, and him and Charles hasn't talked for years. So, it's what it is. Stand on business. Well, I could say stand on business, Miss Duncan, but you can't because you don't went back and kissed Sheryl Swoopes' ring to make her feel better, to stroke her ego. But see, if you was really her friend, if you were really part of the media, like some of us, you would just call her out on her bullshit for what she did to them players over there at Loyal. But you won't do that because guess what? She really will be after you. See, some of these new media people that works for ESPN, Fox, or whatever the case may be, they're not gonna sit there and call out stuff. But I guarantee you, a person like Michelle Beale, probably some others, some OGs, they probably would. You even got some of these crazy ones on there that just could spit hate and negativity just towards Caitlin Clark. But at the same time, Sheryl Swoopes hasn't done anything for her career recently, but trying to be in the limelight and trying to be on podcasts, and she doesn't know nothing. And you talk about a person that do not do research for facts, is Sheryl Swoopes. She do not look for information. She just says it off the top of her head and thinks she's right. But then when people call her out on her bullshit, guess what? She don't get held accountable for it. Like I said, the stuff that Elaine Duncan said, man, at this point, I think I'm not going to even react to anything that anybody from ESPN says. If it ain't Rebecca Lobo, if it ain't Sue Bird, maybe maybe Shanae Umake. I might do, if she says something. But like I said, they go back and forth so much. But I'm not going to jump on everything. If Elaine Duncan came out and say something today or tomorrow, I'm not even comment on it. I'm not even going to spend my time and my energy because I already know what these people are about. You know what I'm saying? I already know what they're about. I know already what they stand for. They're not going to really care about anything. They're just trying to stay hot in the media. They're trying to get views and clicks to see who's going to react to stuff that they want. I'm not going to spend my time and energy. I'm going to focus on other aspects of the Indiana Fever, my Washington Commanders, my Miami Hurricanes, and stuff like that. I'm not going to spend too much going or through all this negativity back and forth with the ESPN media, because that's what it is. If Elaine Duncan wanted to do something, she shouldn't even came back and apologized, period. She should have stood on business from the get-go. And then if Sheryl Swoopes had a problem with her, then it's just what it is. But you went back not once, but twice on your podcast to clean up excuse me, to clean up a take that you shouldn't even have to be cleaning up. But hey, just to save face with your friend, I guess that's what it is. But again, continue to like, comment, subscribe. You see it strolling down in the ticker to the channel. I would gratefully appreciate it. The support of the channel, the ones that watch the channel, the ones that comment on my videos, I really greatly appreciate it. Continue to bring in great stuff. Hey, until then, man, the hell with ESPN and Elaine Duncan.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.